hey, MASFAA, this is Marvin Smith. I am the Executive Director of Student Financial Services at IUPUI in Indianapolis, and I'm MASFAA President-elect, and I'm pleased to welcome three key MASFAA leaders who are helping to put on the Minneapolis conference, and we're going to talk to each one of them individually through this technology. So, Nicholas Pruitt, why don't you introduce yourself, tell us a little bit about what you do, maybe how you got into financial aid, and yeah, that'd be probably a good start.
All right. Thank you, Marvin. My name is Nick Pruitt. I'm the Executive Director of Financial Aid at the University of Missouri. I am also your MASFAA President, and I'm super excited about the upcoming conference. As of this morning, we have 391 people registered. About 150 of those are first-time attendees, so we're super excited about having all the new folks coming. As for me, how I got started in financial aid, I think like most people, I got started when I was waiting for my wife to graduate with her master's degree and I needed a job, and I sort of found a home in the financial aid office, and I've just kind of gone on from there.
That's the same story for a lot of us, I know. So Alex Delanis, why don't you tell us about yourself and what you're doing?
Yeah, so my name is Alex Delanis. I'm the Director of Financial Aid Processing at Ivy Tech, Indianapolis. I got started in financial aid as a federal work study student. Someone just picked my name off a piece of paper to come in, and I was initially going to go into law enforcement, actually, and had so much fun in financial aid, I thought, hey, why don't I stay? So it seemed to be working out so far. Have had a great experience within associations, MASFAA. I think it's going to be a good one.
Very good. You froze there just for a little bit, Alex. So you must have been so excited about talking about your ISFA and MASFAA and your Illinois involvement too, right? Because you started in.
Yep, I've been in.
So yeah,
been in Indiana for a few years now, but I started my career with the Illinois Association and a couple of community colleges in Illinois.
Yep. Very cool. All right, Carla Weber, tell us about yourself.
My turn. Well, hello, everyone. My name is Carla Weber. I'm the Communications Manager for the Office of Student Financial Aid at the University of Wisconsin-Madison. And I got into the profession actually not at all related to being a work-study student, but it was by accident in that I, as a college student, supervised other students. In our office, we were hiring a front desk supervisor and advisor who would supervise our front desk team. And so I knew a lot about supervising students, not much about financial aid. A decade later, it's probably the subject I know the most about, which some days can be a little terrifying how much I know about financial aid. But just about 2 years ago now, I switched to a communications role in our office, which has been a blast. It's been a completely new challenge that I love, finding different ways to use the financial aid knowledge to help students too. And MASFAA, oh my gosh, I'm so excited about this conference. Working with our team has been amazing. Alex is a great partner in crime to get us this together. So I'm really excited to see everybody in Minnesota.
So Carla, I know you've got a lot of good experience too, because we worked together and planned a conference in Indianapolis a few years back. So I'm excited.
Yeah, well, and this is actually my second conference planning. I planned the 50th anniversary conference for the state of Wisconsin's association, WASFA. Had a blast doing that conference. And so when this opportunity came up to do it for MASFAA as well, having already worked with Marvin before in the past, and I really do enjoy working with the MASFAA crew, it was easy to say yes to this one.
So you guys have been working for probably more than a year planning this event. Tell us a little bit about that planning, how you came up with the theme. Nick, you want to start?
Sure. I think part of it has to do with the theme, and the theme for the conference is Seeds for the Future. And where the idea really comes from is a lot of associations, state, regional, even national associations are kind of struggling with memberships. You know, there are a lot of people who are nearing retirement age and have put a lot into associations. And I think there's a new generation of financial aid professional out there. And I think it's important for us to remember that we have to plant the seeds so that we have some type of future in our industry. And so kind of the theme is planting the seeds for an orchard. The person who plants the seeds doesn't necessarily get to pick the fruit. And so I think it's just a good reminder that we're laying the foundation for the future of our association and our administrators.
So Alex, you want to talk about how long you guys have been planning this thing? You guys first met last summer, maybe?
Yeah, it was Nick reached out to us. We agreed to help plan the conference, and I think we got connected. Carla and I got connected at that time, and we had several communications and a lot of things back and forth before we even met in person at Nick's president planning retreat. Once we got there, it was nice. We got to connect with the board and get ideas and work with Nick to really get his ideas and his vision, because we want to make sure that we hit everything that we needed to hit to make it a fantastic event, and really get what Nick was looking for in his conference. So we started there, and then from there we built a great team. And I know Carla will talk about this too. I mean, we're nothing without the committee, and they have done a fantastic job. We have representation from every state in the region, as well as some donors to help us out as well. So great diversity of thought, great session choices. We worked well together, people who are new to MASFAA, and maybe this was their first committee, but we also had folks who have been around the block, and maybe this is their 15th committee. So we really got a good mixture of folks to work with. And we, at the conference site in Minneapolis, depending on how your method of transportation, if it was by airplane, you might have gotten there a little slowed you down in February. Luckily, this one's in October, so we shouldn't run into those same issues. So, but we met. Carla got us all set up with the whiteboards and the markers and everything we needed to really get the planning. And think about all the conferences we've attended, Dayton, and your state associations and your NASFAs and your federal conferences, and what did we like, what didn't we like, what could we do better, and that's how we kind of started running to build what we think is going to be a great event.
So Carla, what else to add? What are you looking forward to in Minneapolis?
Oh, what am I looking forward to in Minneapolis? Well, I think it starts with the people. I think this is just one of those times a year I get excited about, because I only get to see my regional colleagues a handful of times throughout the year. So that right now is keeping me going, of just getting to see so many people that I don't get to see a lot, and just watch them enjoy the experience of being at the conference, especially for the first time attendees. It can feel a little overwhelming, especially looking at the schedule, but just that sense of camaraderie and friendship, and we're all in this together. It's just really reassuring to get us pumped up for it. And I'm really looking forward to just how the conference is going to start off this year. I think bringing back these pre-conference sessions, we've got a great variety of subjects for people to go to. It's not too late to sign up for a pre-conference session either. So if people still want to go, we can make changes to that. And then our keynote speaker on Sunday night, Colin Ryan, he is a financial comedian, and his stuff is just great, both in how he talks to students, K through 12, and higher education settings, and how he talks to parents and educators and professionals like us, and how we work with students and can kind of see the lighter side of money, since it is a heavier topic. So I feel like I could go on forever about the things I'm looking forward to, but that just gets us started for sure.
So I want to give everybody a warning, because I'm recording this at home and I've got dogs in the background. So I'm okay if you hear any dogs start barking. So I wanted to let folks know that, the local arrangements committee could not be here on this recording, but I know that David Vikander put in a lot of work before he had to step down for some work reasons. If you don't know David, he's always in Minnesota Vikings gear. I hope he is able to make it to the conference. But
he's registered.
Hey, that's awesome. So Ann Kaluza and Dick Badig are doing all the local arrangements stuff. And so we're really excited. I know I am to visit a Super Bowl city in Minneapolis. We held a MASFAA meeting there, and we got to see a lot of great stuff in downtown Minneapolis. So, Nicholas, what are you looking forward to the most in going to Minneapolis?
You know, I think I'm excited about the conference. This is going to be one of the largest MASFAA conferences that we've had in recent years. I think our number of people who have registered and said they've been to a MASFAA conference before is larger than we had the previous time. And then you include, 150 new attendees. I think that's what the future of the association is about. So I'm excited about seeing the presentations. We have some great keynotes lined up. I'm excited connecting with my colleagues that I only see maybe once a year or twice a year. Because, I think that's really what going to a conference is about.
So let me ask Alex, we've got like 150 newcomers. What kind of advice would you have for the newcomers? How are they going to navigate this conference?
Well, I know for me in my first conference, the first thing I did was talk to my supervisor. They have probably, been there before, especially as a newer professional, because we would have a lot of folks new to the conference who are probably seasoned as well. But for the newcomers that are new professionals, talk to your supervisor. They probably have a lot of experience with speakers that they like, or maybe subjects that they would encourage you, or intercession topics that they would encourage you to go to. And then network. I mean, you're with 400 financial aid administrators from throughout the region. Connect with people in your sessions, ask questions. Don't be afraid to ask questions. It's a really, I think, warm group that'll invite you in, and you'll be able to connect with everyone in every session. And then we do have, for newcomers, we do have a newcomer event. Take a look at the program to see when it is, but you should get an invitation to that.
So, yeah, I was going to ask you about the newcomers event. Can you look that up real fast to see, or do you have it memorized, Carla Weber? When's the newcomers event?
Yes. So it's the newcomer luncheon. It's on Sunday. I believe it starts at noon to 2 on Sunday. And I don't have details beyond that yet, though, but newcomers will get the invite as to where the location will be for that luncheon. So we do really encourage you to attend. It's a great way to start meeting people and just kind of get started off on the right foot for the conference.
Mm-hmm. So, Carla, you've already talked about some of the speakers and so forth. What's a couple of hidden gems buried within the conference that you're really excited about? Maybe you're going to sneak away and attend, even though the program committee is usually very busy at conference.
Yeah, I've made a point to not overcommit myself to going to anything, but a couple of the ones I'm really excited about. Actually, I heard just recently that a conference attendee changed her flight schedule to come in early enough to attend a session on imposter syndrome. She's fascinated by the topic idea, and so am I. That's actually Carrie Gilbert from University of Missouri who's giving that presentation, and that is definitely one you will probably see me sneak into the back of. But otherwise, the topics are really great in terms of variety. So there's a session from my campus about using data in financial aid to help inform our different decisions related to how we create our financial aid packages, how we work with SAP students. I know the team working on that's great. I also have to give a shout out to my colleague from Madison who's a foster parent and will be giving a session specifically on working with foster youth and former foster youth. I don't think that's a subject we talk about enough sometimes in financial aid, so really pumped to see what Corey has to share. So look forward to that one. Otherwise, we've got presentations on just basic things like basics of R2T4 on a subject that everybody loves, right? Sarcasm. I hope you felt it. We're talking about SAP. We actually have our regional exchange colleague who will be doing a basics of satisfactory academic progress for us. We've got topics related to, I should pull up the schedule because now I feel like as much as I've been I can't think of others.
No, that sounds good. Go ahead, Alex.
Yeah, we also have, so one of our keynote speakers, Kiki, She is doing the general session, but she will also be doing an intra session immediately following. So if that's someone who you really enjoyed and you really connected with, especially it'd be a good one for newcomers as well on the same topic. It's called Why Weird is Better. And she said it's a networking session like none other. So that might be one that I might try to slip into if we have the time.
So let me ask you, Nick, and you kind of kicked off this program talking about the state of the association and growing the association. And how would you advise newcomers to get involved in the association?
Well, I think one of the quotes that's been going around in all the reminder emails is the person who's early to bed and late to rise isn't getting enough out of the conference. And I think that's one of the philosophies that I always kind of take with me. I learn a lot in the sessions, and we have some great sessions, but I also learn more from having casual conversations in the hallways or casual conversations while there's an evening activity or an evening event, or maybe just some after hours activity. I think that's how I've really connected with a lot of people. I think that's really helped my network, and I think that's made me a better financial aid administrator by having a lot of those connections. Because I think you can meet people, you can trade emails, and people are happy to respond. But when you have that personal connection, or you've shared conversations about R2T4 philosophy, sometime after midnight while walking back from somewhere, I think those are great memories, and I think that builds a strong foundation of trust.
Absolutely. And then just a shameless plug is I've got a volunteer form that we'll be distributing at the conference, and we really want to get volunteers for all our committees and task forces in place and really make sure that we're involving all the association as much as we possibly can.
Yeah. Marvin, can I add something really quick to that?
Yeah.
We actually this year as well made a point to put in the information of all of the different committees into the program. So if you're wondering what committees are even available or what the descriptions are and who to get in contact with, that'll be right in the program for you. And then of course, just look for any of the executive council members. You'll see pictures in the program and just tap them on the shoulder and they can tell you how to get involved too.
Mm-hmm. So do you remember, Alex, how you got involved? How did you get involved in MASFAA or the Illinois Association way back when?
Yeah, so when I started full-time in financial aid, I had a supervisor who said, you're going to be involved in professional associations, and she explained all of the benefits. And not only did she talk the talk, but she also walked the walk, being a former president of associations and so forth. So I did just that. My first interaction was ALASFA's Diversity Issues Committee. So I served on that committee for 2 years until I was asked to chair it. So only 3 years into my association volunteer work did I find myself leading a team. And it was a fantastic experience. I mean, that was probably my favorite, other than this committee, of course, Carla, but one of my favorite chairing experiences that I've had, leading great discussions on serving underrepresented populations and access to education and serving undocumented students, and making sure that there were sessions at the conference related to that, and really connecting with people who shared the same passions that I have. So from there, I mean, it was just a kind of a domino effect from there. I got my first MASFAA experience was being invited to the leadership symposium at IUPUI. So I got to be a part of that event and learn from some amazing financial aid administrators, some seasoned folks who put on just a great event. And like Nick was saying earlier, some of those, the best experiences and things that I've learned didn't necessarily come in the classroom, but maybe came at a baseball game where I got to really connect with somebody a little bit beyond, your verification and your
You froze again, Alex. You were thinking about that Indianapolis Indians game. It was riveting.
Yes, 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 yes. But it was, yeah, being at all of those events, outside of the sessions, I always look forward to, and, moving from ALASFA to now ISFA, it was a natural transition. I think the first thing they had me do was be on chair their conference program committee. They said, "Oh, welcome to ISFA. Please plan our conference." So that was fun. And now I serve on the executive board as treasurer-elect for ISFA, as well as my volunteer work for MASFAA.
Mm-hmm. Carla, what about you?
How did I get involved with MASFAA specifically? So MASFAA for me actually started almost identical to Alex in the sense that I was invited to attend the leadership symposium, but it was up in Duluth, Minnesota. Shout out to Crystal, Laura, and Dana, my peeps who are now best financial aid friends that were created at that event. Mm-hmm. But yeah, getting to the leadership symposium and starting to just build that connection of people that I knew from the region. What's great for me is that the university that I work for, we don't really have near peers in our state. Marquette's kind of the closest to us, UW-Milwaukee a little. But for me, the region has made such a difference just because there are more peer institutions that I can really relate to in terms of the kind of work that we're doing at the scale that we're doing it at. So Leadership Symposium got me started. And then I've been on several conference committees for MASFAA, I believe at least 2, both West Virginia and then Kansas City I was on program for. So it just kind of was a natural step to then help co-chair for this conference. But also Marvin and I had a great time putting together the Summer Institute several years ago. And that's been a blast to watch that program grow and kind of go through different changes to improve what abilities that we have out there in the financial aid profession. Statewide, I started truly in the profession with my state organization with WASFA. Again, easiest thing to start with is a conference. So started off on a conference committee from that, and then pretty much have had experience on almost all of the different WASFA's committees at some point or another. But now really I'm focused with them on professional development like I will be with MASFAA for next year.
Very good. So I'm going to date myself, but I was state president in Indiana in 2001, and suddenly that meant I was on the MASFAA executive committee, and I remember thinking, what's MASFAA all about? And so if you've never been to a MASFAA, I call it's 9 times better than a state conference. And I'm not saying that state conferences are bad. I love my state conferences, but you just really get a feel for schools that are more similar to you across 9 states. And also the people within MASFAA. I was nervous about not knowing anybody. It's amazing how similar we are all across our profession in some of the challenges we're facing. So I'm thinking we're getting close to winding up. So Nicholas, any parting comments?
No, I think come with an open mind, come to the conference ready to have some fun. I think we've got a lot planned. There's a great, we will also feed you very well. I'm super excited about the walleye po' boys. I think I'm looking forward to that. So, I mean, I think there's some great things happening at the conference.
So, Alex, closing comments.
I know local couldn't be here, but they do have some really cool activities planned. You have a virtual reality experience. There's going to be some dueling pianos and a really exciting charity to support. So they did a lot of hard work too, and I think that'll be on display for the great conference. So really, really looking forward to it.
So, and then Carla, I think I want to know a little bit more about the service project, the charity event we're doing, and I'll get my prop.
Oh, sure. Sure. So the charity that the MASFAA conference will be supporting this year is called Believe Vet, V-E-T, and they're based in Minnesota and train service dogs to help veterans. So we're really excited to be able to support them. There will be at least a service animal puppy for us to see at the conference. They'll also share videos, but make sure you bring your cash because we will be selling raffle tickets at I think it's $1 a ticket or $20 for a wingspan. So find the tallest person in the room and ask them to get you a wingspan of tickets. And we can introduce Marvin's puppy.
Mm-hmm.
So this is Sassy, and I was so afraid she was going to be barking and so forth, but she, if you don't like puppies, I don't know about you. I'm excited about maybe this charity event and maybe making a difference for some service members. So that's exciting. So, all right. Well, I hope to see even more members in Minneapolis. Is it too late to register for the conference? When are you cutting that off?
Well, it's not. There is a late fee that we have to assess at this point. And I don't know that we actually have a final cutoff date. So there may be some flexibility in that. But if you still want to register, the sooner the better for sure.
Very good. Well, thank you, everybody. I'm looking forward to seeing everybody in Minneapolis.